Yo, what's good with y'all? So welcome back to the channel. Another segment of reviewing the rookies, and today we're going to look back at the 2020 rookie season of the fifth overall pick in the draft, and that's former Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, now with the Miami Dolphins. Now Tua took over in the midway point of the season, taking over for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and in 9 starts he was able to put up 1,814 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and 3 rushing yards with a passer rating of 87.1. Now, me personally, I've been a very big fan of Tua ever since I saw that game-winning touchdown pass that he threw to Devontae Smith in the national championship game against Georgia. From there on out, I slowly started keeping track of his progress and his growth and his progression throughout his college career, and eventually being drafted 5th overall by the Miami Dolphins, the team that I had predicted would draft him in last year's draft. And I even had the ability to go see Tua play live against the New England Patriots. But a lot of key attributes that I picked up from watching games on TV whenever they aired in my area, or just highlights I saw off of YouTube or on Instagram. And what stood out to me from just keeping an eye on him throughout his NFL career, his rookie season, is that he has pinpoint accuracy. He's able to throw the football and fit it into tight windows of space. As you can see in his first game against the Los Angeles Rams, his debut as a starter, he was able to fit the football into a tight window into Devontae Parker's hands for his first ever NFL touchdown. Tua's pocket presence and his movement in the pocket and ability to escape when necessary is pretty excellent too. He has key awareness. He knows when it's time to leave the pocket. He's not afraid to go and run with it on his legs. He's not afraid to go pick up first downs with his legs or even score a couple of touchdowns on the ground, put himself into harm's way. He's had 2 quarterback sneaks for a touchdown, and he's been able to leave the pocket and escape out of harm's way to score another touchdown. But a play that stood out significantly to me was against Arizona when the pocket was collapsing. It was breaking in, it was folding in on him, and he was able to escape for a huge chunk of yardage, and he was able to convert for the first down, and then later on the next play he was able to throw it for a touchdown pass. Also enhancing his pinpoint accuracy is his smooth release and the smooth spiral he gets behind his throws. The release he's able to get on the football, able to throw it downfield, make it easier to catch for his receivers. It doesn't wobble, it's a nice smooth spiral, and it's easy for his receivers to catch. 3 major red flags that stood out to me about Tua. Red flag number 1, he has had some questionable throws. A lot of analysts have seen him throw the football, and they could say that he tends to throw floaters or footballs that have a lot of hang time in the air. And many people think that this is a huge threat for interceptions, that a lot of his passes have so much time that defenders can make an adjustment to it and intercept them. Even though he's only thrown 5 interceptions and 3 against the Buffalo Bills, I feel like his throws are just fine, and it actually makes it easier for his receivers to adjust and make their catches for a reception, and instead of making it easier for the defender. But we could see that his throws do lack a little bit of velocity, and I'm sure this is something he could pick up on over the off season, and I'm sure he'll be just fine going into next season. We'll see a little bit more velocity in his throws. He'll get more behind in his throws. He'll be a little more confident coming off of a fully healed hip and off a full training camp. He'll be able to make these adjustments. Questionable red flag number 2. Can he lead a game-winning drive or a fourth quarter comeback? Now, against the Denver Broncos, they were down, I believe it was 20-10 in the fourth quarter, and Tua had taken a beating up prior to the fourth quarter, having accumulated a total of 6 sacks. So Brian Flores thought it would be wise to pull out his future franchise quarterback, avoid the risk of re-injuring that injured hip, which he had just come off of from surgery, and he put Ryan Fitzpatrick in to try and win the game for them. But ultimately that did not end up happening. The Broncos ended up winning that game. So I believe that Brian Flores pulled Tua on that game just to avoid the amount of punishment that he was taking, because he had already been sacked 6 times. Now, against the Raiders later on in the season, the Dolphins found themselves down again by a good score, and it was heading into the fourth quarter, and Brian Flores yet again pulled Tua out and threw Ryan Fitzpatrick in, and we all saw what happened, the magic that Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to produce out there on the field. got the Dolphins in field goal range for the game-winning walk-off field goal, and many people thought at the time that it would be cool to have Ryan Fitzpatrick as the closer and Tua as the starter. But this actually, in my opinion, I felt like this stunt Tua's growth, because I felt like Tua needed to be in those type of positions, in those type of situations when he's down huge, because when he was in Alabama, he was never down by a good score, by a good lump of points. He was always ahead. He was always steamrolling teams. But now, when it came down to him having to gather the team and lead him in the fourth quarter, Brian Flores, I felt, pulled him, stunned his growth by pulling them out and throwing Ryan Fitzpatrick in, especially against the game against the Raiders. So now, heading into the 2021 season, what does Tua have going for himself? What do the Miami Dolphins have going for themselves? Well, the Dolphins do have the third overall pick in the draft, and that's thanks to the Houston Texans. Now, with that pick, I feel like it's more necessary to get to a number one receiver, and I just feel like Devontae Parker, the gifted receiver that he is, the talented receiver that he is, I feel like he hasn't had that connection or that chemistry with Tua, and I feel like a guy like Devontae Smith, who has that Alabama connection with him, would be a perfect fit for the Dolphins. A former Heisman winner, an excellent playmaker, a fast, stealth receiver, I feel is what the Dolphins need. They could draft Penei Sewell out of the University of Oregon, but I feel like their offensive line is already pretty good as it is. Not too many problems on the offensive line. So I feel like they should get Devontae Smith reunited with Tua. Now, a couple of cons that Tua does have going for himself is he does have a defensive-minded coach, and it looked like what happened in his rookie season. It kind of stunned his growth a bit, and it's not that his coach probably didn't have faith or belief in him, but he felt like they had a better chance of winning with Ryan Fitzpatrick finishing off the games and Tua just opening up the games. So I feel like that's stunning his growth a bit. A defensive-minded coach, but nonetheless, Brian Flores is still one of the best coaches in the league, a defensive-minded genius, and I don't think Tua should have too many problems as they're getting a new quarterbacks coach, some guy from the Buffalo Bills. So I'm sure Tua will be just fine. Now, another thing that really is going to impact Tua's career is the amount of criticism that he's gotten from not just the media, but his teammates. It was reported that 3 Miami Dolphins, around the time of the Buffalo Bills game, after the Bills game, were saying that Tua's been showing signs of red flags, and not just during the regular season, but in the preseason training camp. And this does sound pretty bad for him. And the only thing they could really highlight about him was his accuracy, that pinpoint accuracy that I mentioned earlier. That was the only good thing they had to say about him. But they said that he looks a little shaky, a little off. So hopefully this doesn't get to him. But also the media has been putting pressure on him. They had some pretty high expectations, and from what has transpired, coming off a career-threatening hip injury and then requiring surgery, having no preseason games to get you into the feel, into the rhythm of what it's like to be in the NFL, and to just be thrown into the water against Aaron Donald and a pretty good LA Rams defense on your starting debut, and then having to go up against the likes of the Denver Broncos defense, and then going to Arizona, and then facing some pretty good teams along the way like the Kansas City Chiefs. So you cannot really put that much of a blame on Tua. He's put up some pretty excellent numbers, some decent numbers. He's not the best rookie quarterback in the draft. I still feel like Justin Herbert tops the other 2 quarterbacks. Justin Herbert goes a little bit above Joe Burrow and above Tua, and we still have yet to see much from Jalen Hurts other than what he's been able to do in a couple games. But what he's also been able to do is pretty spectacular. But for Tua, I feel like he's received a lot of criticism that he doesn't deserve, and a couple of the losses weren't really on his fault. You cannot really blame the loss to the Bills on Tua. It was more of a team thing. The defense gave up some pretty easy touchdowns to the Bills, and then special teams let the Bills run for another touchdown, and then they found themselves behind by a huge score, and then all the confidence that Tua had for getting this team into the playoffs, now he found himself down by a huge deficit early in the football game. And I feel like this is just what knocked the confidence out the door. So these little things shouldn't really bother Tua. And from what I hear about Tua, he's very perseverant. So I'm sure he won't give up, and I'm sure he has goals for himself some pretty high expectations for himself as well heading into the next season. And me as a fan of his, going back to his college days, I'm sure he'll be just fine, and I'll still be rooting for him. All right, y'all. So that's all I have for today in this video. Let me know what you guys think down below. How did you guys think of Tua based off of what you guys saw and heard? How did his rookie season go? So let me know in the comments down below. I'll be leaving my social media links in the description below as well. And like always, like, comment, subscribe. Help this channel grow. I appreciate it dearly. It means a lot. Every little like, every little subscription I get, it means a lot. It means I'm making progress. It means I'm getting better. And I try every day to get better. So with that in mind, I'll see y'all guys in the next video. And y'all be chill. Y'all be easy. And I'll see y'all later in the next video.